All right, so I'm going to share my screen. If I can figure out how again. Google Chrome is requesting to bypass the system private window picker and directly access your screen. Is that what I want? Oh. Select a screen to, okay. I don't know. Log into your Canvas. I don't want to do any of this. I just want to share the doggone screen. What do I do?
Well, I'm not sure. Whole screen. The easiest thing is to eventually send them to me, and then we can put them in a widget. But I think you want to share the. There you go. I see it.
You see what?
I see your whole screen.
Which screen? What are you seeing?
I'm seeing like 7 open windows.
So you really are seeing everything. All right.
Yeah.
You probably only need to see.
You're going to find the one you want to share and make it big. Fill it up.
All right. So let's do this. All right. Let's see if I'm in the right place. Well, this may be the first time I've seen this full blast. I did it last night. Yeah, I chose, actually, I answered all of their questions when they first asked from the USA Swimming thing, thinking that that might be valuable. And then I wasn't surprised on the positive side and whatever side that they kind of went off their things and got to the fun and all that stuff. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not where I would have gone with this. I think the biggest thing for me when you balance fun, accountability, and motivation is that you start with, okay, how do you build your team into the culture that you want? And in order for a team to be really good, I think you have to have these 3 areas. We tell all the swimmers this. You already have your team, and the value of a team is obvious. You know, they get you where you're supposed to go. They open up the gate. The insurance is paid. The dues are paid. The coaches are paid. The workouts are written. You get to race people. There's a ton of things that are great about a team. And then the mentor is like, let me see. So the mentor is like Da Vinci.
All right. So
most people know that Da Vinci actually painted.
Steve,
there's a second
let me
Mona
interrupt.
Lisa.
So what are you trying to show now? Do you have slides?
Yeah, you're not seeing the slides?
No, I'm not seeing the slides.
Well, they're right in front of me. So what are you seeing? You're seeing the other screens?
I'm seeing maybe your other screen. I'm seeing the it has the magazine logo in the background with light blue and green and black.
You're seeing all my screens instead of just the screen I want. So help me out. How do I just show this screen? I'm going to stop sharing for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now it says share screen. So now share screen. And let's see.
Then at the top, it says Chrome tab, window, or entire screen.
So I guess just the window, right? Oh, now, yeah, good. I get to see the one that I want to see. So if I move this over to here and I put this in front, this is what I want to see. This one here, yeah? Yeah. So let's share that. Is that helpful?
Yeah, now I see Da Vinci stuff.
All right, let's start over. Let's start over real fast. All right,
so that's good.
Full. All right, so, and then we're going to go full screen on this. Is that good?
Yeah, yes. I guess it's good. Yes.
Okay, we all set?
Yep.
All right, so this is, for anybody watching that didn't know what we just went through, senior coaches from United States Swimming. And my theory would be that they were trying to make us better. But what they did, I think, what they accomplished mostly is making us more friendly, and we got to share with each other, which was fine. But I would like to see, we're living at a time when American swimming is it's probably its lowest in a long time when you consider that only one American male won a gold medal at the Paris Olympics. And it wouldn't have even been him probably because we were training Hafnaoui, and if Hafnaoui hadn't have trouble, that I think he might have even beat Fink. So we would have had just none. So what's happened that's wrong? Well, we could commiserate over that, or we can go forward. And this is what I was hoping that they would do when they're talking to senior coaches who potentially have the greatest possibility to make a positive impact in our sport. Obviously, age group coaches are extremely valuable, and I was an age group coach too. But at the point where people turn 13, 14, 15, they have to make decisions that they didn't have to make, and how do you keep them going? And that was sort of the purpose of this thing. And people were talking about having fun with them and going places. And I chimed in and said, well, I chimed in on writing, and I said, team meets are great. And, we plan in the clinics and the camps we're going to do in Hawaii this summer with Mark to take him to the beach. That was more my idea. So I'm kind of a fun guy when I need to be. Take them to the beach to do their dry land, and maybe do some paddling with them, as well as, because we have them for 8 hours, 12 hours a day or whatever, and so we can get away with some of that stuff. But in general, what I hoped they would say is, wow, what a great idea. We're going to we would go with a mentor with our team. So when you see here, you see the team being very valuable, taking care of, as I just said earlier, taking care of business, hiring coaches, making sure the pool water is taken care of, travel's taken care of, everybody's paid, that workouts are done, and there's a certain amount of organization to that, all that stuff. The team is great. It's fun. You get to race people every day, and we tell our swimmers, you need the team. But the swimmers I mentor are mentored by me one-on-one most of the time, one-on-two at the most, where I know everything about them, and they learn everything about themselves, how fast they're kicking, pulling, sculling, how many strokes they took in the last 200 on the third 50, all that stuff. They start to really get to know themselves a lot better. And it's a lot easier for me to do that than 1 on 40 or 1 on 30 or 1 on 20. Even 1 on 2 is half as much. They get me half as much. So the mentor is a really important part of it. And what we're bringing up is that Stephen Curry here in this, he got a mentor. After he won the MVP, he went out and got a personal mentor. After he won, I say this, voted on by the rest of the players, he was the most valuable player in the NBA, the top area of the Olympics of swimming, of basketball, and he got an individual coach. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you need to get me or anyone else as an individual coach, but you need to have somebody on your team that mentors the team, and they don't have to worry about anything else. So I want to talk about that. And then I just wanted to bring up too, Da Vinci. Da Vinci was sitting next to someone who actually painted another Mona Lisa as he painted. So stroke by stroke, they were learning from the master, and he had learned the same way from a master growing up. And that's what we need if you're going to master swimming, you need all three of these areas. But the area probably most, and this was brought up quite frequently in the meeting we just had with the U.S. Swimming senior people, and I like this, is that they brought up how the swimmer needs to be, have their own part of this whole plan and this whole part of this execution that I think we don't let them do enough. I mean, how many times do you let them have an hour to just go work on their flip turns? An hour to just perfect, film themselves and look at it and go, because if they've been swimming for a while, they're senior swimmers, they can probably tell they're crossing over or their head's too high. And of course, I make it more obvious by showing them underwater video of Marchand and other people and how to, master the elements of their strokes. But once we've done that, they can do a lot of that themselves. They can plan it on their own. So I encourage all of my swimmers. Well, first of all, they have to join a fitness center that I do this in order to work with me, because in the winter, even California is too cold. And so they're indoors, and they're able to, now they can go anytime they want to. And so I encourage them to go on their own and do stuff on their own. And I think that's a really important thing. I think it's important that they watch videos and stuff on their own. This is sort of this in a way. It's not just one-on-one, but it's this other part, right? Team, mentor, and the swimmer. So we can talk about that at length, but we won't. But you'll see some of the things, like right now, this is a swimmer with a waterproofed iPad and an iSwim that he just went a 50, and now he's looking at his stroke to see whether or not he's doing what he wants to do. By the way, this swimmer just signed with Ohio State University. He's a very good distance swimmer. He obviously needs to work on some muscle, but he is 6'5" at 16 years old, 17 now, I think. But you get the idea. He's working on his own. Actually, he's working with another swimmer here where they're helping each other and they're talking over each other. He just picked up the camera. But you get the idea of, I didn't have to be here for this. I mean, I was for a lot of it, but I didn't have to be here for this. And this is just some guy at the health club, right? You get the idea. So then there's some areas that are highly motivating, and we were talking about how to motivate people. I didn't get to say any of this during this, but I did send them all the notes, so we'll see. Somebody might get something out of it. They're motivated by learning. we're motivated by learning. I think it's in our DNA. Little babies, they want to learn. It's frustrating for them when they don't. When you watch them learn, the failing forward thing is just obvious. They fall, they cry, they get up, they fall, they cry, they get up, and eventually they get it. Now at our level, I'd like to know what they know. So let's give them a test and find out. You might be very surprised. What's another name for, these are the answers too, by the way. So what's another name for backstroke? Side stroke. If we want them to pull with their body and their core, they call it side stroke, etc. So give them quizzes once in a while. I mean, it wouldn't be too much to come in every Monday and you got to take a quiz on stuff we learned last week. If you're that organized and you care that much that they are speaking the same language as you, I think we need to do this frequently. I only do it at camps because I'm one-on-one with people a lot. So I only do it at camps, but it would be interesting to pop quiz even the people that are working one-on-one with me. But certainly if you took average swimmers on average teams, senior swimmers, they would not get some of this right, or at least we'd find out that they're not communicating it the same way that their coach is communicating it. Back to mastery, back to Da Vinci. How do you know your flutter kick's going to be great or your dolphin kick's going to be good? Ankle flexibility. How do you measure that? You don't just hope for it. You don't just do some ankle rotators and grab your ankle and stretch it or sit on your ankles. You want to find out what you're doing is actually working. You need to have some way to be able to measure it. In this case, this is interesting because you're not seeing the whole thing here, but her back of her knee is completely on the ground and she's this flexible. So this is Lochte, this is Phelps, this is Gretchen. All of them have this much flexibility. What do we do with Lochte? We put a board underneath his heel, and now he goes and measures again on this. And again, if he gets a quarter of an inch on every kick, every 4 kicks, he's got an inch, and that's a lot of kicks during the race. So they're motivated to do this then if you give them this accountability. Then when they go to do the stretching, you ask them to go, and we try to get them to stretch for at least 20 or 30 minutes at a time, holding their ankles in plantar flexion under stress. So, you do it different ways. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is that you measure it. In our case, every Monday or Tuesday, everybody measures their ankle flexibility. And I don't always do it with my personal one-on-one swimmers, but because I don't have every day. But there should be one day a week when you do this. If they're not as good, then, they've been standing at 90 degrees their whole, 168 hours a week. They're standing at 90 degrees for, a good 100 of those, more than 100 of those hours. So your ankle is going to adapt to being less flexible instead of more. If you think that fins do the job, just measure this for a few weeks and see if it's doing the job of increasing ankle flexibility, and you'll come back to me or somebody and figure out how to do it right. This is progress. This is the Sandpipers swim team. This is at 11 years old. This is 12, 13, 14. This is Bella, and this is her 50 free, 36 in the 50, 39. Now at 13, she's 25. At 14, she's 24, 15, 23, 16, 22, and slightly better from 16 to 17 years old. But if you were on an average team, you'd probably think Bella Sims was a sprinter. Most of you know from now her history that she's a lot more than that. And so this goes all the way across on all of the Sandpipers top the swimmers that are in their senior program. And since it was a senior meeting, I thought I'd bring this up and that this would be very interesting for people. But anyway, and I do this all the time. I did this actually for Sandpipers. He knew some of this, but I did it more accurately or, more fully. You can get this off the USA Swimming website and look up these times and place them together. I think USA Swimming should make this not only easy, but they should publish this all the time. And they should publish this on the basis of how a team is doing. So what's the average swimmer on Sandpipers improving? What's the average swimmer on your team or my team or whatever? And then let's compare those things and then go retro and find out what we're doing to make it better. So progress is highly motivating though. You can tell, if this swimmer is improving like this, it's really not hard to get her to come to workout. Here's when we weren't under 22 and we did this and she hadn't improved the 200 breast, but you get the idea. It's almost a linear improvement year by year. Now this is year over year, not meet after meet. So you have to tell parents, look, there's a lot more important to our sport than just how fast they swim meet after meet, especially if they're swimming a meet every month or 2 a month, or in high school, 2 or 3 a week sometimes. So don't just go on times, parents. Here's what's most important, and give them a list of all the things that you're trying to do. And one of the things we do, I just happen to have it over here, not in order on the slides, but our full screen. Is our stroke report card, for example, or our training report card. We'll get to some of that. So if we're here, Then we're doing a lot of this. This is called neuroplasticity, and I'm doing a lot more now. I just put together a movie that's almost done to look in a VR headset just to block them out, but they can just go to the website, trainyourbrainvr.com, and they can look at 5 minutes of a constant movie of the best possible views of the best possible swimmers swimming butterfly or backstroke or breaststroke or freestyle. And now we just did one with just underwater dolphin kick. And it includes a little bit about what they should image. So this is an imagery thing to change the neuron firing into their muscles so that when they go to actually do it physically, the studies have shown that they'll learn something like 3 times faster. But even if they don't learn that much faster, this is a really good way to take a swimmer who's really, really experienced to be able to have really good discussions with you as a coach. On ownership, this is when the swimmer pops out of the water and goes and writes down they just did 3 100s back flutter kick for time. And we'll show you a little bit about how to do that too. We do a spin turn, so we just do science. We don't do dolphin kick. We don't do pulling into the walls. We just do back flutter kick because we want to know if they're having trouble with backstroke in the IM or backstroke, that whether kicking is the problem, whatever. So this is taking ownership. The swimmer actually has to get out and write it in. And then later on, you have you or somebody else capture that into your Excel program or whatever you're using. Hopefully you're using Cool Coach really soon. We've got it running. And that's pretty cool, but we're going to Cool Coach VR, where the computer will actually tell you or suggest to you, hey, you haven't done kicking for time in the last 4 weeks. Maybe it's time to find out whether or not what you're trying to do in workout is actually working. And then take a look at the video of the last time they raced and see whether or not their lower body is as high as you want it to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but anyway, the swimmer takes ownership. They're a lot more motivated. And we only have the ones get out of the water who improve their time. So that's kind of a cool rite of passage sort of thing every time we do it. Clarity, this is Train Your Brain. You can go to trainyourbrainvr.com. And for free right now, just go ahead and do that. I'm making a ton more. It's going to be connected automatically to the data that you get from tracking your swimmers. So if you're seeing a weak dolphin kick, you're immediately going to know, well, we probably need to work on hip extensors and ankle flexibility, or maybe we have to do more than a 25 at a time in workout in order for them to be really good. And if we do 25 at a time, we need to track how fast we're doing it to find out whether or not what we think we're doing is actually having the effect that we want. And then the other thing is challenge. This is what I keep every day. Every day I have this open in front of me while the swimmer's in the water. Now I can do this one-on-one. It's very hard to do this when I have a camp or when I coach a team. I have somebody else in front of this, and I have the swimmer come up to them and tell them their times, et cetera, if they do challenges. These challenges widely range from 4,000 IM for time, which Sippy Whithead did, and then Janet Evans heard she did it, and she wanted to do it, and many other people have done. So 4,000 IM for time or more or less or whatever. And I actually keep a stopwatch going to see how they're doing compared to their 200 best times. And we've actually had many people this season actually have such a weakness in their endurance that when we did this a few weeks, they immediately started going faster in their 200. Their 200 pace was faster in the middle of the 4,000 IM. This is incredible to me. Than their 200 from a block. So it's just, if that's their weakness, it shows up really fast. But we also do, you can see in here, 25s breaststroke pull. Most people don't even know. This particular breaststroker has dropped 18 seconds in the 200 breaststroke this season alone. His pull has dropped from 18 to 17, but his 100 pull has really dropped, and his 100 kick has really dropped. So we put it all together, and he just about made sectionals a few weeks after we started really going after the elements of these challenges. So we challenge every day. There isn't a single day when I do a session where the swimmer doesn't improve something. Not one day. They never walk away not having, it might be something simple like they went a 3,000 IM, now they go a 4,000 IM, that's easy, or a 400 fly, which they've maybe never even considered. But not a lot of times it's not so simple. It may be 650s, these tracking sets. Notice this 650s back here. He's averaging, oh geez, I just went the wrong way. He's averaging 30.69 on the 650s back. He started the season he's going 26. This is messed up. Anyway, so of all the things to show you, one that's messed up. His 650s, I don't know what he was going at the beginning of the season. This is wrong. This is maybe his goal. But anyway, at the beginning of the season, he was going slower, a lot slower, because his best time is 104. He's tracking 650s back on 2 minutes. It's predicting. That's a predictive set to about a 0.97 correlation coefficient. He is now predicting a 101 the next time he swims. And on Saturday, I had him go a straight 100 back, and he went 101.2 in practice, and we'd already gone like a 4,000 IM and stuff like that. So he's ready to break a minute and 100 back, which is not a big deal until you start looking farther over to the right, which we're not going to show you right now. But his 400 IM has dropped 43 seconds, and he is sectionals and looking to juniors in that. So his sprints have gone down. Everything has gone down in this particular 15-year-old swimmer. So I'm really excited about that. And that's what these challenges can do. Every one of my swimmers has an average of about 17% improvement. So he's actually extremely improved in some of his major things. But here you see a 500 free is 7.9%. The average that we brought up before in America for 15-18s is a 1% improvement. And in many strokes, many events, it's less than that. And a couple, it's slightly more. That's ridiculous. There's just something terribly wrong about that. And that's because we don't challenge them to be better. We don't challenge ourselves to be better every single day. It won't be in the same thing every single day, but every single day they should walk away doing something better. So we want to balance all these things. Part of the balance, this comes from, I think, Tony Robbins. In your life, in order to be, in order to feel like your life is fun and accountable and you're motivated and all that stuff, you got to have fun and variety in your life. You got to have both fun and variety. You have to have certainty, clear goals, and a clear plan. But you also, again, have to have that variety. You have to have progress and growth. How do you have progress and growth if you don't even know, and you're a butterfly, or you don't even know your time for the 25 dolphin kick? How are you going to progress to the people that you're trying to beat if you don't even know your time? If you don't know your all of that stuff, how are you going to progress? And you go to the meet and you hope. Well, I don't want to go to the meet and I hope. I don't like to be surprised, and they don't either. Yeah, sometimes it's a positive surprise, but it's not a planned surprise, and they feel a lot less sense of that. So people really need that. They need to feel significant when they're racing or competing or they're standing out in practice. They need to have connection to the team, the coach, and the shared culture. That's why that third part, or the second part, and the mentor, I think, is extremely important. And by the way, I think what most teams ought to do about that is hire someone whose only responsibility is to film them underwater, to make sure that connection's really strong there, and also to track them and make sure that they're looking with them and collaborating with them on what parts of the tracking system are going to be most effective for them and what they can do at home as part, or on their own as part of themselves trying to be really great. I think you need to have that person hired, and that's why Schubert brought me in and has brought a number of people in to be able to balance out his 8,000 yard practice and contribution. You have to have a purpose beyond yourself. I really look for my swimmers to be helping each other. And I like to get them to get some of that from me, that I'm a contribution and I'm not just there earning an income, that I'm there to contribute, but I want them to feel like they're contributing every day. And it's really harder to do that on a USS team, because when you go to a meet, you have very little chance to be able to contribute points for your whole team, right? You're not going to even US nationals. Most teams don't have a chance in anywhere to be able to score enough points for your team in order to have your team have a chance to win. It's just not set up that way. Should it be? Yes. I think swimmers ought to get points for how close they are to their best time. Just look at how little success there is in terms of best times at Olympic trials, for example. I think there ought to be a way to win, not necessarily at Olympic trials, but certainly at nationals, to be able to score for your club on the basis of how much you've improved, not only on the basis of what position you got, and how much talent you have. So anyway, I think we can make it a lot more fun that way. You have to feel like you're contributing. It's really hard to do that in our culture of our programs a lot of times, in practice and in meets. You can build that, but you have to try. So this is team identity. This is a team we took to Serbia with AAU. Team identity, they all wearing the same things. They look like they're part of something special for each other. To make a team out of a bunch of people from different places wasn't easy, but it's something we have to do on every national team. In this case, we gave the opportunity to lead to one of my swimmers that I worked with from Kansas when a bunch of these people were selected on this team. And he's a very funny guy with a great personality. So it worked pretty well. And they were talking about, I don't know what they were talking, probably goals or something like that, but he made it funny. And I think when you have the opportunity to leading like this, it again makes you all of those things that make you make it positive for you as part of a program or whatever, get better. But it has to be built into your DNA as a coach and as a leader to make sure that you're building future leaders right away, or present leaders right away. And that really builds a great senior program. The culture of personal goal setting, to me, I don't let anybody train for me that hasn't put in their best times and their goal times. They fill out this thing and it immediately tells them what percentage they are from their goal, etc. I make them fill out a goal for all 17 events. They don't necessarily like it and think I'm a little crazy if they've been specialized a lot. And then until I show them other people's goal cards and their tracking, and how the mile, for example, at the Las Vegas Sandpipers has such an effect on their even their 100 free in terms of how much they drop off from their 50 free. So I try to show them all these things. I think 100 breaststroke pull or 50 breaststroke pull is highly related to an early vertical forearm, for example. So I show them those things. I try to convince them, I sell them. But in any case, whether I'm right or they're right or nobody's right, they're trying to do something today that better than they could do the day before. And the only way we can get that is to let them set the goals. And I make sure they set them. I might give them an eyebrow or whatever. When it starts to show the percentage from my goal and it's like 18%, I'm like, that's great. You're really heroic. Here's the average and go for it, but just so you know, that's the average. And maybe the next time they set it a little bit more reasonably, but I think reasonable sometimes is a problem. So we kind of look for that, but I don't force it either way. I just want them to make sure that they are the ones setting the goals. And then in this goal card that I have them do, they can click to Hobson and see him setting the American record on video on YouTube. And I didn't do this, and all the other events too. And then long course, we do the same thing. What I've learned, organized tracks of we already showed you a lot about tracking. This is the kicking. I'm trying to put it in better order right now. In fact, this morning I had a breaststroker in who hadn't dropped in 2 years, and she's, thank God, it's dropped now in 5 sessions with me, 2.5 seconds in the 200 breast and really close in the 100. In fact, this morning we aimed after the 100, but I put a special part of the tracking. Again, this is just Excel, and I just copied it down just for breaststroke because I realized it was too in the middle of everything here. So you can do whatever you want on this, but I just think you ought to be organized. And so we're looking for progressively deeper tracking of the intentional improvement of senior events. So if you're a major swimmer in the top 100 in the world, you have to start to get even more deeper in your tracking, whether you're doing leg extensions or something else in the weight room, where maybe you're maturing from pull-ups to early vertical forearm motions, which is more of a internal rotation of the shoulder joint. Pull-ups are now you're grown out of the general exercises and more specific exercises. Either way, it's got to be more intentional and more measured, and then the chance for success goes way up. This is an example of the world-class swimmers I worked with Schubert. You can see David Johnson. We highlighted him here because he made the Olympic team by 0.3 of a second or 0.2 of a second in the mile, and he dropped 17 seconds at trials. We're very proud of him. We're actually going to still work with him. He's going to come to the camp this summer in Hawaii, and everybody listening to this is invited, including the coaches. I really want to work with coaches. In fact, Mark Schubert said yesterday, that's great, but I have morning workouts, so you're going to be one working with the coaches. But you're welcome to come and hang out with us and watch us as we do this camp. If you're a coach, I think you'll learn a lot. And I think I'll learn a lot if you come. So that's that. But David had a really successful time. He had only gone 15:03 when we first started working with him. And you guys probably know what he did in the Olympic trials, taking it away from a lot of people who thought they were going to get it. I think he's the fastest 400 IMer in American history, just waiting to happen. But all 4 strokes need dramatic improvement. We made dramatic improvement and got him in first at the preliminaries of the World Championships. And then he kind of spun out in some things where he went back to what he had been doing for years and years and years. You can see Marwan El Kamash, probably the best technical freestyler in the mile, but even David even beat him. Anyway, here we go. Never leave a wall without a goal is our basic saying. If you imagine how boring it would be to very quickly to practice shooting on a backboard with no rim. You just wouldn't get very good, and it would be pretty boring after a while because you'd pretty easily hit the backboard, right? But whether or not it's going in, and now imagine that this is how it kind of is with Steph Curry doing it with a rim. It's kind of like us against Australians or anybody else who's measuring. If we're not measuring everything, this is how it is. You're just throwing workouts at them. And great, and they may even look a little bit better in workout, but what's the improvement, and why are we not racing each other? And that's something I was going to say at the end of this meeting. And I thought these might just not be the people that I should challenge until they're ready, and they may not be. This is how complicated our sport is. I was bringing this up earlier, that parents ought to know how complicated our sport is, and that sometimes we're just looking for the coupling, catch, and butterfly. We're just looking for the back sweep of the breaststroke pull down, or in this case, we're just looking for scalloped feet in the dolphin kick for backstroke dolphin kick, or for backstroke, so that they can get more flexibility on every kick, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when my eye as a professional is looking at a meet, I'm not just looking for the total time at all. Now, obviously, we work on taper from the very first day of the season, and we want them to be really great when it matters the most. Some of that, of course, much of it is psychological. But if you've done all the things we were talking about to be progressive and work on all of these things, these components of the strokes, you're probably going to be successful by your taper. And this is doing the same thing, but this is a lot more for training, for how strong are you, how much better are you than before. And this is kind of a work in progress, just to kind of show how my mind works and how your mind can work. And then you put in the elements that you think are most important. And then you run correlation coefficients to do that. We have software to do that. It's called Cool Coach. What I've learned, balancing accountability, why this matters now, the current focus I have right now is 12 to 18-year-olds. The problem is many elite teams showed minimal improvement, even on gold and silver USA swimming programs. And I bring that up because you get to be a gold or silver program on the basis of how fast your swimmers go. But how much of that is God-given talent, and how much of that is that we're doing a great job? And the way to tell that is, as Stephen Covey gave an example one time. He was tucking in like almost the least of his kids, quietest one, pain in the butt or whatever, and taking really good care of him. And one of the other kids who, loved his dad and knew that he was, maybe more favored, thought he was more favored, sees how much he's caring for the least of these, and starts to realize that, hey, it's really important to care for the least of these, or the average of these, or even the really good of these. I've said many times, and I totally believe it's true, and many people agree with me, that Michael Phelps on the average team in America would have been the anchor on their relay, maybe at the state meet, maybe, and then probably would be in the 100 or the 50. Maybe he'd have a good fly, but probably wouldn't swim the 200. You know what I mean? He would just be like the rest of the swimmers on the team. North Baltimore was really ready for him. His older sisters had swum on the team. They had put some on the Olympic team since 1968. When you build your program to have the culture of excellence, good things happen. It certainly happened in Alaska, as you know, when Jacoby won. And I was blessed to have been a mentor of the coach that had her for the previous year. This is a video, by the way, you can find online with me mentoring David Johnston over the time he was doing that. And just a little bit about me. If you get this slideshow, you don't need to know about me. This is actually a t-shirt that we've given to people, 10,000 IM per time, because, well, race me in the sprint 400 IM and you'll find out why. You have to have a great stroke in order to swim, 100 laps of fly. You just do. You just has to be a really great stroke, and you have to swim it just like free. Mary T showed us how, many others have shown us how, but we kind of ignore that because, oh my gosh, they're complaining of shoulder problems. The main reason they're complaining of shoulder problems is bad strokes. So I can show you more about that technically, and this is the 9 habits of highly effective swimmers, all the way from choosing your own state, which I got from Tony Robbins. I think that's a great idea. You can actually put yourself in a state where you remember when your dog died, or a state when you remember when you won the state championship. Just by thinking it, you can put yourself in that state and then walk into practice or walk into a meet. I love that. The 8th habit is help find your own voice, and then to help other people find theirs. Very much a coaching thing, right? But these are just organized all the way from being proactive onto here. So all of our swimmers know this. All of my swimmers know it. Are they experts at it? No, but on my teams they are, because they hear it. Probably they say too much. Triangle, you already talked about. This is our land and fitness. This is just something we brought to a camp really fast. I have it a lot more organized in my own weight room, but anybody can grab a swim bench and look at the readout here on the readout. Actually, this is when it was first designed. It was designed with the readout way up here. Obviously his arm's too low, and we've got a swimmer working on him to get it higher. And I'm just paying attention to that as I do the video, but it's kind of interesting. This is just a camp with a bunch of random swimmers, and some had worked with me and some hadn't, and they all got better. In one day, your team can transform by doing all the things we're talking about here. It's not hard at all. You can literally take a whiteboard and put their names on the left side, and then just choose something, anything, to measure that day, and then have them do 100 flutter kick, and then have them do another one. And everybody who makes it better comes up and writes their new time down, and have them do another one, and etc. You can do that on the first day of the first time. The first thing I do when I come to a new team is I ask them how many strokes they take to get across the pool. When they're not sure, we do that, and then we do another one. We don't even tell them what we're doing. They'll drop stroke count, and then another one, and then we'll raise our hands if we're under 15 or something. It's very easy to make these transitions. This is in the new Cool Coach. You'll be able to go to just the stretching videos, just the land exercises, just the perfecting practice stuff, just to the stroke report card stuff, just to the stuff that we invent, like our towers with readouts to the 100th of a second, just to my interviews, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, and Train Your Brain VR will be in there. And this is all going to be automated and stuff. We just got this started. This is coming in the next version of the VR section of the program. This is my contact different. No, it isn't, but it will be my contact. You can find me on CoachUp, and you can find me at steve@competitiveswimmer.com. Feel free to email me. I might ignore it, but I try not to. But certainly you want to look me up on CoachUp and see what we've done on a one-on-one basis. And then that's great. And then if you want workouts, this is workouts and why. And I actually send this to give this to parents. I think we're all done with this. Mark, thanks a lot.
Sure. So a couple housekeeping questions, Steve. Once
Sure.
you get rid of your screen so we can talk. What's the latest with the magazine?
Magazine's out.
Okay, so you publish that?
Yeah.
And where's the best place for people to get that?
Well, that's a good question, because we are having the, let me get off well, am I off? I'm good.
Well, you're still sharing your screen.
Oh, let's undo that. I got to figure out where to do that. No, I'm already lost. Oh, here it is. Stop sharing. That's a good button for it. It says stop sharing. Got it. Is that good?
Yep.
So we're redoing the website. I'm having somebody for $300 change it from the way that it is to WordPress finally, after all these years, because I have $300. I found him. I think he's going to be really good at it. We've moved all of our websites, all 53 of them, believe it or not, all over to a new server, and it's lightning fast. And it's much, much better. We're obviously redoing Cool Coach, and we are doing Cool Life. All those things are kind of connected to your answer. Is on the new website, they'll be able, actually on the present website, they should be able to get a subscription. But eventually, very soon, all of the magazines, including all of the back issues, will be under a lock and key, where you have if you're a subscriber, you'll be able to get to all of them. And that's like, almost 100 interviews with some of the best coaches and scientists in the world, and all of the tracking sheets and all of the other stuff that we design, and then a connection to upgrades to a Cool Coach and everything else. So it'll all kind of finally be connected to itself, and I'm excited about that. But for this moment, they can, if they send me their email, I'll send them the January edition. How's that sound?
Okay, so sort of internal, you didn't send it out via Constant Contact?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Did you see it? You didn't see it?
Well, I saw something came in. I didn't know if that was just to me or if that was everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'd be good. And thanks for your editing. And we probably need to get even better at that. I know.
Yeah, I just need more time and more lead, and we'll be able to do that. Okay. So, yep. And what's the latest with Cool Coach? So you're teasing us. It's coming. When do you think? You don't have to pin down a date, but where's it stand?
Okay, so let me do this again, and let me find Cool for you. although everything's been all over the place right now. So let me go search. I want to just show it to you real fast. Find. Because it actually is literally a day from being able to actually sell it if you've got Excel. We had trouble with the, let me try this again. So I'm looking for find and Cool Coach. Let's see it, find Cool Coach. Sorry, this is taking a minute. I wasn't prepared for this, but I want to show you instead of tell you. My gosh, it's taking a minute. Actually, I can do it just here. Cool. Many things on my screen. Oh yeah, Cool Coach app, and then there's Cool. All right, so I'm going to do this one, and then Cool. All right, you seeing my screen still?
I'm seeing Steve's contact information.
Are you now seeing Cool Coach 4.5?
It takes a moment to load, but no, I'm not.
I thought I could have sworn I just shared the screen. Maybe it's. Oh boy, that's a mess. Hold on a second. Huh? Am I not sharing? It says stop sharing. Can you? You're not seeing my little mouse?
I see a web page, the CS-magazine, my Canvas site.
What? You see a what?
I see Steve's contact information.
Stop share. Share screen. Okay, so I must have grabbed the wrong one. Window. And now I want to see this. Okay, so I'm going to go to this window and share. The problem is with 3 screens, that's what's happening. You see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just calling this 4.5 because it's going to have a couple of really cool bells and whistles in it that I'm just playing with. But my programmer said, don't do anything right now because it's fragile. But we're getting close to it not being fragile. He just wanted to make sure with Microsoft. I'm sorry, with Macintosh. Some things want to still kind of go through some things and be protected. So Excel's trying to protect things, but we're going to a fully automated, fully program that doesn't need Excel anymore. And we're working on that the minute we're done with this. So this cost a bunch of money, but then you can see, actually this came up on another screen. So there we go. So this is how it starts. This is probably familiar to you. Then we go to Advanced Cool Coach. I'm sorry?
The share screen went away because it was a different window.
Why? I'm still on the same screen as I was on. So what do you see now?
I just see you.
You see me?
Cancel. Maybe my view. Yeah, I don't see you're not presenting anymore.
We are sharing the screen. Okay, let me go back to here. It says oh, you're right. It stopped sharing the screen. What the heck was that all about? All right, so we'll go back to window. This is meeting. It's not Zoom. I see. All right, no offense, but I just don't think this works as well as Zoom. All right, so I'm going to bring this back. Advanced Cool and share. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. And so now, yeah, maybe popping things around. So you can see all the things are here that used to be here. If we go to first buttons, I added this part. So these videos will go right to where they're supposed to go. So we want to go to neuroplasticity. We just click on neuroplasticity and you can see all the neuroplasticity videos within. You can just tell this is just a regular YouTube channel that I built for this. And so you can do that. So that's cool. And then we're going to leave that.
Oops, I think you just closed the, you're gone. All right. Well, Steve just logged off of the meeting. And I'm sure he'll check back in. I will take a moment. I'll get my camera straight. We've been streaming for 44 minutes. We're recording for 45 minutes. This is going into a YouTube stream called YouTube/ampersand, the @ wafsu.org. You have to spell out WAFSUDOTORG. Then that will take you to /live where the streaming is happening. So Steve, you're offline and I don't know if you know it. I had a couple housekeeping questions I wanted to ask Steve, and I'll also put his January issue of the competitive magazine at blog.swimiska.org. We've done that in the past, and it sometimes makes it a little bit more convenient to get. I was going to text Steve. Maybe. On Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, which is much earlier, 4:30 a.m. Pacific, a Coach Sander, he has a PhD, lives in Newcastle, Australia presently, grew up and coached earlier in the Netherlands. Hi, Steve. You're back. The best thing about Meetin is the sharing of widgets. So it is difficult sharing screens, but you have to make the slides in advance, and then we can have them.
Well, it doesn't work that way because I'm interactive here. I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to answer your questions and be in an interactive way to show you how it works and why it works, and you're going to theoretically ask questions and stuff.
Yeah, well, then you just have to jump to different screens inside a widget. I agree. Okay, let me ask you other questions without showing me.
I wish I could have shown you. Yeah.
What's the retail price of Cool Coach going to be? Do you have an idea yet?
Well, we sold it for $349, and I still like it. But what I like better is a subscription model. So $349, or it's $300 if you get it for the year. You know, you get it on you buy a year's subscription. Otherwise, it ends up to be $349 or something like that.
Okay.
Before we sold a book with it, so it may be, you know, we may be able to do it for less. And if that's what is going to change the world, I'm happy to do that. But I think part of changing the world is having enough income to be able to, you know, go to the next levels. As we go into VR, we need people that can actually program VR. Now, I have some people around me who are very smart. One did his postdoc work at Caltech. I didn't even know. He's a parent just sitting next to me. His kid's in the water. I don't think that much of him. I'm like, oh, you went to college, huh? He goes, he looks over my shoulder. Oh, you're using Excel. I'm pretty good with Excel. I go, how good are you? He goes, well, and then he told me the schools he went to, and I did postdoc work. And he goes, yeah, and I use Excel a lot. I'm like, well, you're my man. But we took Excel and we bent it to do things that even Microsoft didn't even think could be done. So that's going to be fun.
So when it comes to the book, maybe we can talk again later. Maybe I could make a companion handbook for Cool Coach. That would be something I would love to do.
Do you have the original?
Well, yes, but that was I don't think I have a computer that can run those discs. You know.
No. No, I don't mean. I mean, do you have I can send you the original in PDF.
Okay.
And, it'll give you some idea, because we had so much there about leadership and all the stuff we've been talking about today. And I think it needs to continue to do that, because it's not just software, you know, and that's why I'm like, yeah, the software is the sort of the tool that you use, but you can have a lot of tools in your garage that you don't know how to use, you know, or for what, you know, why. So,
okay.
Yeah. That'd be great.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. That was a George Patton thing in Europe. Okay.
Is that what he
said? I read online just recently that Cal Baptist diving coach is not going to have her contract renewed for the future, and that the athletic director told her, you better help your divers get into the portal and find another place. So they're going to go to at least a part-time diving coach at Cal Baptist. Are you hearing anything else? And there were some hints that maybe that women's swimming team at Cal Baptist, you know, is you know, a little, its future is up in the air. You know, so have you heard anything else about Cal Baptist? Just to follow up with our.
I'm supposed to. I just delivered some of our swimlastics to Biola yesterday, or was it yesterday? Monday. Well, on Monday, and I need to go to Cal Baptist to deliver some to them. And I'll talk to Jim and ask him what he knows. But no, I hadn't heard that. Doesn't mean anything. They don't ask for my permission. If it were up to me, they'd go Division II again. That's what we kind of talked about with Biola, is they stayed Division II. And I said, are you in any trouble? He goes, not at all. We're financially strong. And he's not saying it's because we went Division I, but Division I's pretty expensive. You don't have a football program, or your basketball program isn't on TV or whatever. I guess they thought they'd immediately be on TV or something. I really don't know what they were thinking, but it wasn't good for our swim program. I mean, how many points were we going to score at Division I? I mean, you know.
But what's Biola that you mentioned? What's that about?
Biola, Biola University. Have you ever heard of them? No.
Huh?
I don't know that. I'm not new.
Yeah, well, that's Division II. So, but that's where I grew up, in La Mirada. They're in La Mirada. They've got I think it's an 8-lane pool. It's just this little kind of a dungeon pool. It's nothing spectacular, but the guy wants to do a good job. And, I guess he kind of wants to do a good job. He's a very nice, friendly guy. They usually hire really nice, friendly people for Division II and NAIA, and, kind of more intense people for Division I, I think. I think that would be but I think all of them are pretty nice. I think you kind of have to be. Nowadays you have to be really nice, because you could be sued for calling somebody fat.
Hey, you like to drop the old names, Janet Evans and stuff. Excuse me. Did you see Mary T's really doing well in the Masters butterfly events?
I'm telling you, I would not race Mary T. I would race her if I had fins on. No, she's the real thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, there was something to behold.
Okay, interview her. I interviewed Denny Persley about her, and he told me the story. I think you've heard the story, but I told the story about him saying, "Hey, Mary, if you swim the 3,000, they were going T30, 3,000 for time, and if you swim at fly, you don't have to come to afternoon practice on Saturday." And all the guys were like, she goes, "Oh yeah, that'd be great," and it's just normal for her. And a lot of the guys on the team were like, "Hey, that's not fair." And so Denny goes, "You guys really want to swim 3,000 fly for time?" Yeah, we can do it. And he said, "Well, let me put it this way though. If you break stroke, or you one-arm fly or something, that's not fly. So we'll start over freestyle for you." And a bunch of the hands went down, but not all of them. A lot of them stick around, and they did it. And he goes, "That's the first year we won the NCAA. We won the national championships. They won it as a team at Lakeview, I think. Lakeview? Yeah, Lakeside. That's right." And so yeah, that was an interesting story. But Mary, there are people that come along like Steph Curry that no matter who is on their team, they get better because they're in that environment with that one person. I try to tell everybody that you just need to be that person, and then if you are, then your whole team will get better. Because I can't tell you, Mark, out of the 50 swimmers or so that I'm coaching, how many of the parents have gone, "Why don't you start your own team? I would join it." I don't coach the same way when I have 40 people, for one thing. But I always tell them, you go back and make your team better.
Yeah, that's great. So one other thing that popped up in that most recent senior meeting with USA Swimming is, if you're a small team, an advantage, and I put it in the chat, but it wasn't talked about on air, is that I think going to the ISCA meets is a good solution. It's a motivator, if you're a small team, because, how do you have relays and you have some kids at futures, some at juniors, some at seniors, some at sectionals, or some at a regional, or some at a state level? But if you go to an ISCA meet, you could take all the kids to the same meet, and you can, have the relays. Or even if you're going to send one or two kids, just send them to the ISCA meet, and we have us, hook them up with another team, and they'll still have a good experience. So sometimes picking your championship meets is very important. And even if you're a small team, there can be a place for you at like an ISCA meet.
Well, that's a great point. And, let's make that point in the magazine too, just make sure it's accurate. I think obviously if you've got somebody who's at, David Johnson's level or something, you're going to want to race. You're going to want to know who's there is going to give you a race. And so there's a point there, but yeah, if you're barely sectional, you're going to be, most of my swimmers, when they get to sectionals, they're like shocked that they're 165th in the 50 free. That actually happened to a couple of my swimmers. Are like, oh my God, I've been working on this all my life, and now I'm 165th. Whereas they go to ISCA, they have a shot to put a dent in it and stuff. And I think that they'll have enough competition, but they also won't be, engulfed, with this too many people. And the funny thing is, usually what you to do to solve that is you have what do you do to solve that? You probably don't solve it. No, there was something I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. This came on the screen.
Well, there's a schedule.
Yeah.
So there's always a championship age group meet and a championship senior meet at the end of short course and the end of long course. A couple other meets throughout, a couple open waters. So anyway,
this is
I just wanted to put that little advertisement out there.
Yeah,
and then I did last thing I wanted to just chat a little bit is I put in that moonshot grant. So we'll cross our fingers. Now, part of that includes the VR. So how much money are we really talking about as far as a site if they're going to get into the VR? You need a VR headset. I haven't bought any of the equipment like that.
No, it's
they
really
just use a cell phone, right?
This is between you and me, but it's really cheap. We could probably make a little bit of a profit of it, but I just go to Temu and get I've got a bunch of them, but I've given them almost all out. But yeah, you just stick in this case, you would just stick a phone in it. If you need it to be cheap, that's what you do. But it's the same video. So if you had a really nice VR headset, you could probably see it a lot clearer. We could probably do a little bit better in terms of I'm taking a lot of video, especially in terms of monetizing. I'm taking a lot of video from advanced performers that NBC or whatever has done. So you have to be a little bit careful about how we charge or perform for that. But what is this organization and how do they?
There's a local called Remake Learning. They have a semi-annual grant application, and I just applied. So it has to be Western Pennsylvania focused, and it would create 10. We'd get together with 10 sites, schools or middle schools or whatever, and local teams, and we'd be able to create a coaching wizard that could help them with their coaching, but also use AI. And I put it specifically, a lot of the things that you talk about as far as the reflective things, the knowledge and being able to talk about it. So we'll see. In the past, I haven't ever got funding, and there's no guarantee that funding would happen here. But if that should happen, then we'll have some money to invest in some of these pieces and then be able to put it out into some different community settings.
Well, did you show them the present site, the present?
I definitely mentioned to you, but the grant application is super tight. You have 150 words here to answer this question, and the question's very structured. So you don't really have a lot of time to put things together. So
I was just thinking it'd be a lot more professional if they went to the site. Really isn't that bad. Most of my sites are, but this isn't that bad where they can go and go, oh yeah, they're really doing this.
We're really doing it.
Yeah.
I like your picture. And so, yeah, we would definitely want to be able to take it to the next level. And so, but I'm going to have to start building, a baseline budget. If we're going to get into it, we're going to get into this. How much is it going to cost? Is it, do I have to get a couple tablets, or do I have to get, a couple headsets, or, and having it at a low quality. But so even if you have a video, is there a filter that you put it through to make it 3D or VR?
Have you never had a VR headset on?
No. Well, I've had it on, but I've never made content for it.
So when you make the content is two, well, you've seen it on site, two videos side by side. And there's a split thing that I use. I don't even remember how to do it anymore, to be honest. I got to look it up because I've done all the videos now, or most of the videos for Underwater Dolphin Kick, and I have to do a new one. But anyway, that's all taken care of for you. You put your phone in, you go to that site, you hit play, you put your phone in, you put your head strap on, and you just sit. And that's your job. Now you can adjust how far apart it is this way and how far it is this way with the little dials. I just got bread on my face. The little dials on the headset. But other than that, nothing much you have to do because the volume's coming out of the if there's volume, and sometimes it's just music. If there's volume, it's coming right out of your phone. It's just all taken care of. The other thing that's great about that for swimmers is you don't have to plug it in, because if you've got a really nice VR headset that you're playing games and stuff like that, or of all things, the Apple one. If you've never tried the Apple one, try that. That'll blow your mind. But no way we're going to spend $3,500 at least on a headset. But with that, it'd probably be cooler because you could probably, if you develop content, you could develop to see things behind you. You could actually watch the swimmer coming over the top of you, and you might even see things that are even more effective in terms of how to learn the movement. But this is just great. It's all you need.
Great. Okay, so I look forward to checking that out a little more in the weeks to come.
Yep.
Hey, thanks.
You too. Great to see you.
We'll talk next week.
All right, Mark. Thanks again.
Bye.
Share screen is not. No, cancel. And leave. Here it is. X.